Hi, I'm Andrew. Welcome to Splashpage. Today I want to talk about a topic I've been thinking a lot about lately, and I've seen a lot of places online. Amber Bennett, Mark Grayson's girlfriend on season 1 of Amazon's Invincible. Now, I'm sure everyone watching this already knows the arguments as to why everyone hates Amber now, but just in case you haven't, here's a quick rundown. Amber and Mark start dating. They're high school kids in a fresh romance. Mark is never around because, well, he's a superhero. He doesn't tell Amber his secret identity because, well, he's a superhero. She gets pissed at him for never being around. Then, when he finally does reveal his secret identity about 5 months into the relationship, she gets even more pissed at him and tells him she already knew, then dumps him. Now, I want to start off by saying I'm not defending Amber. And I'm not defending Mark. What I'm trying to do is explain the way I see it, why Amber is not a bitch or a terrible person or a poorly written character or 1,000 other things that I've seen her described as on the internet lately. Mark and Amber's relationship was doomed from the start because of who they are and how they dealt with Mark's secret identity. Amber is introduced standing up to a big guy who's unsuccessfully hitting on her. And none of that, I don't know, you're not really my type kind of stuff, literally telling him to back the F off and kicking him in the balls when he starts wailing on Mark for standing up for her. She also has interests that involve saving the world. She spends her times building schools in the Philippines and feeding homeless people at a soup kitchen, kind of like Adam Eve and Mark, just without all the superpowers. Mark, on the other hand, is a superhero who has to leave at a moment's notice and can't tell Amber why he's leaving. And then finally, it all gets to be too much, and Mark knows he's going to lose his girlfriend if he doesn't tell her his secret. So he shows up in her room, dressed in his costume, pulls off the mask, and she's still pissed. And I know that annoyed a lot of people watching. But imagine if your significant other was a surgeon and they didn't tell you they were a surgeon. And they kept leaving at random times and breaking plans. And then when they showed up, they had really bad excuses. You'd probably be pretty pissed off too, even if you figured out they were a surgeon beforehand. It's also why every film noir detective has an ex-wife or two, because anyone that puts that much time into their job and doesn't pay attention to the person that they're dating is going to lose that person. Amber's not an idiot. She probably figured it out. In a world where superheroes exist, it's not unthinkable that your boyfriend could secretly be a superhero. It's honestly not even that uncommon. Would we have liked to see her say, OMG, I'm so turned on, let's go have sex now? Okay, well, that exists too in the comic books. Now, I know, we should stick to the source material, right? Well, in the comic book, Mark reveals his secret identity and Amber is totally turned on, but only for a little while. They both eventually realize that this relationship is not working out for them, for all the same reasons as on the show, because Mark is still leaving all the time to go off and save the world. Amber still feels like she needs a boyfriend who spends some time with her. Same storyline, just sped up for television. Just like they sped up the storyline with the Guardians' deaths, and added Adam Eve to the fight against Doc Seismic, and added a lot to Damien Darkblood's storyline, and invented a whole Cecil Omni-Man fight at the end of the season, and changed a lot of other things from the books. To be fair, Amber in the comic books didn't even really do much. Every time she appeared on the page, her dialogue was based around Mark not being around all the time and trying to figure out where he was and what he was doing. Her character in the comic books wasn't all that interesting. The show is set in a world that stands on its own, but it's also based heavily on the history of comic books and subverting comic book tropes. The hero reveals his secret identity, and that makes everything okay. But Mark and Amber were constantly arguing before the big reveal, and that isn't how an argument goes. You don't get to lie and cheat on someone and just immediately get absolved of any and all wrongdoing the second you come clean. Like if Mark was a government spy, stopping terrorist attacks and saving lives, and keeping that a secret, if and when Amber found out, I would understand her being legitimately angry at him because she found out that he's someone who she thought he wasn't. He had been keeping a big part of his life from her for a long time. And she needs time to process this. She's not ready to forgive him in the moment that he exposes his secret identity, even if we are, because we've watched the whole show and seen Mark do all these great things and save all these lives while he was lying to his girlfriend. He doesn't even have the courtesy to make up good lies. You were late for our date again. Oh, I knew I'd be late, so I picked up a cheesecake as an apology. So you went 20 minutes out of your way to pick up an apology gift for being 20 minutes late when you could have just been on time? Yeah, that's not a good lie. Come up with something better. Like, I couldn't get off the phone with my mother, or I was reading a good book and lost track of time, or there was traffic. Anything that makes logical sense. Not, I went 20 minutes out of my way to get a gift to make up for being 20 minutes late. That doesn't make sense internally. That's not even trying. I think the big problem with this scene as viewers is that we get to watch the whole show. Amber didn't. While Mark was off battling Battle Beast or beating the crap out of Doc Seismic, Amber was off doing other things. Real people have hobbies. They do things without their significant others. They do things in spite of their significant others. After the fight with the Rihanna men, whether or not Amber knew Mark was invincible or not at this point doesn't really matter. Mark just disappeared and then lied about it. This might have even been a good point to tell her, but he didn't. And when she found herself at a college party, she decided to try flirting with another guy. Maybe someone who wouldn't run out on her whenever they made plans. Why should we just expect Amber to be cool with Mark disappearing all the time, just because we've seen it happen in a million other comic books? And why didn't Mark tell her his secret identity? Because everyone in his life told him not to, from his father to his mother to Eve. But even Eve, in that conversation on the waterfall, clarifies her earlier statement. I didn't tell you to string her along for 5 months while being an asshole about it.
And I know how it looked to everybody. Oh, poor Stan. What a nice guy. Has to put up with crazy Buddy to shit. Why does he stay with him? I didn't take your life, Stan. I gave you one.
Yeah, but you could have been nicer.
Throughout the season, Amber tells Mark exactly what she wants and gives him multiple chances. She tells him straight out, half the time we make plans you're late or you cancel or you just don't show and your excuses suck. He says, I'm going to do better, I promise. She tells him to prove it. And yet he continues to make plans and disappear without really explaining himself. Now, feelings are often more important than facts, especially in a brand new relationship between teenagers, even in a long-term relationship between adults. And teenagers aren't especially known for their cool heads and calm reasoning. When Amber kicks Mark out and leaves, her face melts just a little. She's acting angry at him, and she has her very legitimate reasons. She just can't change her attitude on a dime, whether or not she really knew he was invincible, or she was just saying that in the heat of the moment, realizing it as he said it, that this was always a possibility. Whether or not she knew he was invincible the whole time, or just realized it in that moment, he's been lying to her. And that's just not a good block to build a relationship on, even if he had good reasons for it. This might just be a case of just wasn't meant to be. Mostly because neither of them had the emotional intelligence to deal with this admittedly strange situation. But Andrew, why did she run back to him in episode 8 and kiss him? Because Amber is a real person, and real people make mistakes, and they don't always get it right the first time. We're not thinking about the 2 weeks that Mark was in the hospital after getting beaten half to death by his own father. The 2 weeks when Amber had time to process, time to reflect and to think, and now she knows the whole story. So is this a rekindling of their relationship? Maybe. Or maybe this is just the reaction of someone caring for someone they loved in their moment of crisis. Someone who is maybe not a good boyfriend, but is still a good person and still a friend. A good character doesn't always have to make the right decisions. They make the decisions that seem right to them in the moment and then deal with the fallout. That's where good drama comes from. And we can still like a character that doesn't make the same decisions we would make. That's why we watch movies and television. But that's just my thoughts on the topic. I'd like to hear what you think, so let me know down in the comments. And I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.